Hey everyone! We're getting all set up. This is my little Spider-Man helper. We will get started here in just a minute. I'm just waiting for Faith to join us. And we will begin. If you are watching in our team page, Facebook Live, feel free to ask questions there. I'll respond to them after the Zoom. If you are on the Zoom with us, we will get started here in just a second. And just go ahead and keep yourself muted. Yeah, we're gonna do some Instagram basics. But we gotta do it like real style, like kids, the flash cape. Like we gotta really do it because honestly, that's what people want to see, especially on Instagram. They want to see real life. Perfect does sell and it attracts people in, but the story behind the perfect presetted picture has to be raw and real, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Emily Roberts. I'm a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus, and we will get started here quickly. Let me bring on the ever so lovely Faith Ryan. I call her my Instagram guru because, one, she is younger than me. I'm 29. She's younger than me. And she has seen Instagram as a completely different platform as we have. So for most of us, we started on Facebook, and that's how we grow our businesses to this day. But then a lot of us are like, okay, I want to figure this Instagram thing out. Like, I want to be good at it. I hear that all the time. How do you use a preset? You know, how do I write a good story? And I don't have a story. I hear that often too. So we're just going to cover some basics for you today. I know there's a bunch of different teams and different jewels on, so welcome everybody. If you missed it, I'm Emily Roberts, I'm Diamond Ambassador, and we have Faith Ryan. I'll let her introduce herself. She is our millennial Instagram guru, and we're just gonna kind of talk some basics. So Faith, are you ready, or do you still need a minute?
I think I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have your video off, or do I need to do something?
Let me see.
You guys, this is as real as it gets.
I think there's a show where I can turn my video on.
Let me see. Okay, I think I did something that should allow you.
Okay.
You see it now?
Yeah. Okay. I think it says that you have to start the video.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I will. 1 second.
Hi. Hi.
Well, Mama, I'm trying to bring you live. I don't know how I did this. Does anybody know? Hi, everyone. Thanks for being such great sports. All right. Okay, you know what? Just go ahead. If I can figure it out, you'll come live as we go. But you just start talking.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. So, hi, guys. My name is Faith Ryan. I'm 18 years old, and I've been on Instagram for 7 years, which sounds like a long time. But just over the years, I've kind of figured different things out, what works, what doesn't work. I've helped my mom, who's a Diamond Ambassador, with her Instagram, with posting and things like that. So a few things, I guess we can just start if that's okay. Ready? Okay. So just like a first few things that I've learned is recently I've been trying new things out, like your bio. When you have an Instagram, that under your profile picture you can edit your bio. A lot of people think that not a lot of people look at that, but they do. It's kind of like, it's like the first thing they read about you, the first introduction that strangers have about you. And so you want to make sure that's like an attention grabber, kind of like, I mean, we all say don't judge a book by its cover, but we all do it anyways. And so that's kind of what people do when they see your bios. That's the first thing they read, so they're going to go off of that, and they're going to associate those words with you. And another thing is you also want to have your pictures as the attention grabber. So kind of stick with the theme. If you're all over the place, you're going to not really attract the people that you're looking to attract. Kind of pick who you want to brand yourself to and post pictures that go along with that. And people are more likely to follow you because you relate to them, and people are all about finding things that relate to them. and make them feel good about themselves, and especially on social media, that's what they want to see. And a lot of times having a theme or pictures that grab their attention is you want the pictures to be pleasing to the eye. They don't have to be perfect. They can be blurry. It's hard a lot of times, especially if you're new to Instagram, to get that perfect picture. Like, you're not going to get the perfect picture all the time. But finding, you can Google like different ways to edit your photos, or just, I know a lot of people that are just real with their photos. And if you brand yourself that way, that can work too. Hashtags are a big thing. Kind of research what hashtags go with the brand that you're trying to market. And like for me, I like traveling, I like riding. So a hashtag like girl writers or young authors or globetrotter or nomad or things like that. Just random keywords that will go with what you're trying to market. And another thing that I found recently is I had my mom do it to kind of test it out. But she changed her profile picture. And if you change your profile picture here and there, not all the time, but kind of often, it'll kind of bring your stats up. People will be like, oh, she changed something. They'll visit your profile, or they'll see what you're up to because they feel like they missed something. And I found that actually works. Another thing that my mom and I have been talking about is captions. When you post a picture, a lot of times, like, a good paragraph is fine. But Instagram has changed so much over the years. Like in the past years, you could write a whole book in the captions and people would stop and read it because that's where they would get their information. But now that you have stories on Instagram, people want to get their information there because it's fast, it's quick. They feel like they can just tap through it and they don't have to respond to it. So if you save all your information for your stories, people are more likely to hold down a story and read it than stop on your caption and read the whole thing that you wrote. It's really about what it's about, because sometimes a long paragraph can grab their attention, they'll read it, but the majority won't.
Hey, Faith, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
So when it comes to stories, this kind of freaks people out, right? Because it's kind of like little mini Facebook Lives is like how I like to describe it.
Right.
So what would be a generalized tip for a first-time stories person?
Yeah. I'd say just think of it as like a story to your life. Kind of like, you don't have to start with your face on the camera. Just take little steps towards being comfortable on the camera with your voice on the camera. Voice is a big thing. A lot of people are scared to put their voice out there. I know I used to be, and I know my mom used to be. So just maybe start filming like what you're doing during the day. Are you making your morning breakfast or going to work or wherever you're going? Just like give a short little thing like, oh, I'm going here, or take a picture. Just get yourself comfortable with the camera, and then eventually try to turn it around and actually start sharing your story or something about your life. It can be a couple seconds, just like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing today, or I'm going to be posting something later, stay tuned and watch that. Or just make sure you're taking little steps, I'd say, kind of to get comfortable so that you can turn it around. I guess that's how I'd answer that.
I love that. No, I think that's great advice. A lot of people watching are from all over the place, from stay-at-home moms to working 9-to-5ers. I think when I first got started personally, it was filming the silly things my kids did as a stay-at-home mom, because that related to other stay-at-home parents. My 3-year-old, he went into our kitchen one morning and took out every egg out of the carton and busted them. So I just started filming. Like, it was stressful, but it was hilarious. So just real life moments like that. I think sometimes we just overcomplicate stories when it could be something as simple as, look, my life is a wreck, and do you relate to that?
Right. Yeah, and definitely a lot of people can relate to that. I know. Yeah, for sure. And another thing with stories is a lot of like you'll probably go on Instagram and you'll see all these super fancy stories with the borders. Stories don't have to be that way, especially because people like relatable things and not everyone can have the fancy stories. But sometimes it does capture attention. So if you are looking to do that, but you don't know how, if you have notes, anyone listening, the two apps that I would use for that is Unfold. So it's the Unfold app. So UNFOLD. And then the other app is Splice. So SPLICE. And both of those are probably my favorite for Instagram, like borders, stories, things like that. And it helps, like if you do put a picture of the Plexus packs or like an announcement of a new product, that will look more professional than just putting the graphic up and people like, oh, she's selling something again. So those things help with posting things like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What is Splice? I've never heard of that one. Is it for like videos?
It's kind of just like Unfold, except they also offer animated borders to where it moves, and it's fancier. But you have to pay for the animated ones, and to me, it's worth it because it's like a one-time a year purchase. But
so just to give you all an example, for those asking about the apps, Unfold is an app you can get. I know I have it. But for instance, for those that have asked about like, how do you make those pretty stories, or like, you know, the stories that all look identical, this is the app that most of us are using because it's the same layout or background. You just are uploading your pictures or content. So say you go to the zoo, instead of 22 pictures or videos in your stories, you could have like 10 videos and pictures, but it's because it's kind of like a fancy version of a collage, so to speak.
yeah.
And it just looks, like she said, more professional. It looks more put together. It looks like you're telling like a story in a cute little slideshow, as opposed to me sitting there trying to get to the end of your stories. It just looks a little bit better. So I think that's an excellent tip. And these are two great apps that you can use. She said Splice does cost a little bit of money. I think Unfold is still free. You can upgrade to the Pro and it's like $1.99. But Unfold is free. Play around with it. You can't mess it up. Like she said, just like stories, you can't mess them up unless you're like just recording nothing, which would be a little strange, but you really can't. You just be yourself. I wanted to share an example real fast. There's this gal that I follow on Instagram, and how many of you are familiar with the fashion people, right? They always look put together, or they're always telling about Nordstrom sale racks and all the things. And I'm like, I shop at Target. I'm like really confused, right? Well, this girl has created a massive following because she does the exact opposite. She's like, today we're going to talk about how to look like a bum. And she puts on her sweatpants and her dad's t-shirt, and her hair is in a messy bun, but she walks you through steps how to get a bun that looks a mess and how to dress like that. It's hysterical. And that's how she's created a following, because that identifies with her and her college age group. Like, you can just be creative and be yourself. Like, if you're not one of those moms, Pinterest moms, I think is what people say, then don't be a Pinterest mom. Be yourself, because that's what people relate to. If you're not a traveler that loves to write like Faith, don't try to be a traveler and a writer. Instead, show what your kid did. Talk about potty training, whatever season of life that suits you. So I love these tips, Faith. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. That's a good tip. Trying to think of, let's see. Followers, a lot of times, I'd say definitely get inspiration from other Instagrammers that you admire, that you follow and you like, because everyone out there, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. Everyone gets something from someone else. So feel free to use their ideas and for your inspiration so that you can kind of make it your own. And a lot of times as we see these other people and they have all these followers and we're like, we don't have, the influence, or, there's not enough people that I know. But I like to think of followers instead of just a number on your page, think of it as people in a room. So if you only have 200 followers, imagine those 200 people in a room with you. That's 200 people you have influence over, that will listen to you, that you have the ability to contact. Because just the fact that they're following you, they kind of they're already putting themselves in your way, if that makes sense. And stay engaged with your followers. If you see a picture that you think is pretty, tell them that. You're gonna get followers to be active with you if you put time into them as well. So if you're flipping through your stories, you're like, oh, that was cute. Don't just put it aside. Tell them it was cute, and you'll strike up a friendship, which will, you'll connect, and they'll be wondering what you're doing. How are you doing this? And they'll respond back to you. And obviously, when people interact with your page, it'll drive your stats up, so more people will find you. I guess that's another tip. Do you have any other questions or ideas that we could hit on?
I do. When you're interacting with followers, especially as our followers tend to grow, I think most of us have a general idea of who is Plexus or in another company and who
Right.
isn't. So tell me more about interaction. Like, what are some do's and don'ts of interacting on Instagram?
Right. I'd say don't come off as like I get messages all the time with people who have followed me, or they're like, "Hey, girl, I had this new idea and I wanted you to check it out." Not so much like that, because back, in the past few years, that probably worked. But things are changed now. People know that you're selling something. People know that you have a business going, and so these days or this year, it's all about being real. Like, I've noticed that trend a lot, is just being realistic, and like Emily was saying, being yourself. So just, if you're going to message anyone about Plexus, or if you're going to message, just be honest and genuine and say it from your heart, not your head. Um, um, like, for example, I've started this new thing, is when people message me, or when people follow me for the first time, I'll message them and I'll be like, "Hey, thank you for following. I just wanted to say," because I'll look at their profile if they're not private, and I'll say, "Thank you for going out of your way to follow me. I'm excited to connect with new people over Instagram. Let me know if you ever want to chat, or let me know." I don't know. You just make something up that kind of goes along with your account. That way they're kind of like, "Oh, she messaged me. She's a real person. Okay, maybe I'll pay attention to what she posts." And I've gotten only positive responses from that. People saying, "Thank you for messaging me. I can't wait to see more adventures in the future." People aren't mean. Either they're going to like it, they'll ignore it, or they'll say something nice. So what have you got to lose? I guess that's...
Another question for like reaching out and interacting, because a lot of people are like, I think they're literally scared of this algorithm word that keeps floating around, which it is a real thing. It is a real thing. Facebook owns Instagram, and they do monitor how much of our content goes out there, which is crazy, right? So for someone that is wanting to fight their odds against the infamous algorithm, what are some things that we can avoid doing? Like, for instance, or maybe if this is like a myth or a truth, is it true that when you're commenting and interacting, do we need to have 4 more words, less emojis, a little bit of everything? Like, what can you tell us to make sure that what we're doing, it stays genuine? Like, we don't want to just go around copying and pasting, like, "You're pretty." Like, no, that's strange.
Right. Yeah.
We want to be authentic, but we also want to make sure that we are truly interacting. We're not just, checking a box.
Yeah. A lot of the things that I've heard, I'm not sure if it's myth or if it's real, but I kind of just play it on the safe side and do it anyways. And I find that it is more genuine if you don't use more emojis, because sometimes we're lazy and we put like 3 heart emojis. I've done that. I do it a lot. But the majority of the time I try to actually say something that I thought, or, that I'm thinking. Another thing with the algorithm is I've also heard that if you go back to a picture that you posted and edit it, like your hashtags, or if you edit a word or a location, they put that as like, it won't show up as much. So make sure you got everything right before you post it, because I have heard that going back and editing it messes with the algorithm.
And I can vouch for that 100%.
Yeah.
I learned that from this like person that has like 300,000 followers. I reached
Mhm.
out to her and she surprisingly enough replied back to me because most of these people are moms, like are
Yeah.
real people. And she was like, hey, that's a great question. Yes, it is true. Make sure your stuff's out there. She now obviously has like an editor basically that helps her post things. But
Right.
for those of us living our basic lives, we don't have an editor on hand. When we are typing something, which this should be done no matter what, whether it's Facebook or Instagram,
Mhm.
obviously you don't have to have perfect grammar, but yeah, spell check yourself, make sure your numbers are right, or you said everything that you want to say, and get your right amount of hashtags at the bottom or whatever. But I started listening to her advice, this lady that I reached out to. This was about 18 to 24 months ago. And I was telling Faith, Faith came to Maui with her mom, Bridget Ryan, and we were talking, and I said, dude, I grew my followers by 10,000 in the last 24 months. I had 3,000 followers, and that was just because of Plexus and life and having babies and stuff. But I wanted the swipe up option. By the way,
Oh, yeah.
fun fact, if you want the swipe up in your stories, you have to have 10,000 followers. And so that was my Instagram goal. I was like, almost as like vain Instagram vanity. I don't know. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like hell bent on that. And so sure enough, I started following these tips. That is completely true. If you do edit your post, I would notice first time post, even with grammars or uh-ohs, I would get, over 100 likes. But if I posted it and was like, oh crap, that's wrong, and I went back and edited it, one to 20 likes. Like it really did make a huge difference. Somebody posted in the comments, I don't know if you can see it, Faith, it says, I practice in
Yeah.
my notes section on my phone, and
That's good.
I go and I take it back to the post to paste over it. I love that advice.
Right.
Another cool thing that I don't think Faith's mentioned yet is for those that like to pre-plan their content, like when the most of your followers are online liking and paying attention, it's usually at the end of the day, right? Especially parents or students. At the end of the day, they're doing homework or procrastinating from homework, or moms and dads, you've gotten your kids into bed. When are you online? At night, right? Between 7
Mhm.
and 11 p.m. is like a huge social media like power hours. And I've noticed that when I am doing that, one, I have more interaction, and I want to plan my post out. So what I do is I type up my thing, I tell my story, like, and it could be a picture from like 6 months ago, but I put a preset over it and it looks like a new picture and it's super cute. So I'll use it again,
Yeah.
tell a story about a completely different night. It has nothing to do with the picture, but my husband looks
Yeah.
cute, I look cute, so I'm telling the story of our marriage, or I give like marital advice because I'm certified to do that. And when I do that, I don't post it. It's like one of those save it for a rainy day things. Like
Mhm.
I hit all the way before it tells you to share. And I'll go back and it'll say save draft or delete post. And I'll save the draft. And I'll do that with 5 or 6 posts. I know you can like have Buffer or Hootsuite and all these things post for you. I've heard bad things about that in the algorithm. So I like to be in control of that. And by doing so, I just saved the draft. Or like someone said, I posted in the notes on my phone so I can just take it in Instagram real quick and I'm not sitting there going, what do I want to talk about?
Mhm.
If I am thinking about something, or my husband, or our last date night, or potty training tips, whatever, what I had for lunch, and I had just posted, or a Plexus special came out and I've already shared for the day, I'm going to save it for a rainy day, right? Save it in your notes and use it later. Someone said, I use this for line breaks, for writing captions, and it's appsforlifehost.com, and it's a caption maker. That's pretty cool. I'm going to put that in
Oh,
my
wow.
here. Somebody also asked, do you know if copying and pasting lowers the algorithm? Like on Facebook, when you copy and paste someone's post, like no one sees your stuff except
Right.
for 3 people that copied it too. So what do you know about that, Faith?
I haven't heard anything about that. Just, you mean like for captions, if you were to copy someone else's caption, paste it somewhere?
Yeah, or like for instance, if you're on Facebook and you see a good post and you copy and paste it into Instagram,
Oh,
I think that is a red flag. I don't think Instagram's caught up to like opening the app in Safari, copying someone's Instagram
yeah.
content. I don't think they're caught up with that part yet.
No,
I
yeah.
do think if you're copying and pasting from Facebook, it's the same exact thing with the algorithm.
Yeah.
Less people are going to see it. They're going to pick up all these keywords that are being used 100 times and get
Right.
flagged for spam or salesiness.
Yeah.
Another thing is if you use certain words on their no-no list, like weight loss or pill or capsule or like things that describe your product,
Yeah.
it will block your content, and only people that have 18 and older profiles, which is what we want anyways. But anyways, it blocks
Yeah.
your content. It'll say you can't view, and they have to unhide it, which you don't want your stuff hidden. So I think just being cognizant of what we're posting and how we're wording it, it just helps us use our creative juices, right? Okay, another question I have would be quotes, music lyrics, things that aren't stories. How often are you doing stuff like that?
I used to, like, for captions, I used to put, a creative quote or something like that. But like I said, like, Instagram's been around for quite a while now, so things are changing. People, when they see a quote, they kind of just see, you know, maybe you were lazy, you couldn't think of anything else, which is probably true, because, I mean, that's what I do usually. But, I mean, sometimes the quote is genuine and you really like that quote, so you're going to put it with your picture. But what I've noticed is people don't really care about your captions anymore. Some of the biggest influencers, you go to their page and their captions are like 2 words or something. And that's just because people want to see your picture. They want to like it, maybe comment and scroll past it. They want to get their information in the stories where they can hold it down or just tap through. So yeah, with quotes and music lyrics, I'd say save those things for your stories. I do like posting a good quote. I've started doing like motivational Wednesdays or like inspirational Wednesdays, to where later, I'll probably put a few quotes up that I really like that I think people will benefit from. So quotes are definitely still big. Just use them right. Probably not as captions. You can put them with other things in your caption, but probably not alone.
I completely agree. And I think, for instance, for those that like songs, like maybe that's just how you connect with other people is through music or a quote, or for all my readers out there that love a good book, what you can do is talk about that in your stories. Like, just 3 little clips of, I'm reading this book for people that like a story about murder and mystery. This is what this book is about. Like, here's a quick synopsis, like your description of the inside flap, right? Whatever you think it is. And then the next one is maybe take a picture of one, like a really juicy part of the book that you're reading. And then the third story slide would be something like, I really hope you read this book. Message me right now. If you're going to go buy it, it's on Amazon for like $11 or whatever. Or you can, include a poll. Like, do you like murder mysteries? Heck yes. Nope. You can have fun with that. That's my next question, Faith, is the things that are included on Instagram, like adding music or adding a poll or questions. How do you incorporate those on your stories, especially when it comes to like not just your everyday life, but like Plexus too, without being salesy?
Yeah. For like the music that you can add onto, I liked adding that onto a lot of times videos that I didn't record the sound or that I don't want the sound to be heard, or just kind of to add more effect to the story, because people love music. And I think it's what was the other part of the question besides the music? Sorry.
How do you incorporate the things that Instagram's provided, like polls or ask me a question?
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you gave your mom this advice, but every now and then she'll do this thing where she's like, ask me anything, or ask me a question about nursing, or ask me a question about RV life. And she'll get like hundreds of messages. But when is that appropriate? Do you do that like once a month? Like, should you do it weekly?
I'd say, yeah, definitely don't overuse it, because people can run out of questions. But I do like that my mom, she specifies the question. She gives it a subject, because if you just say, ask me anything, people are going to be like, that's too hard to think about right now. Skip. But if you ask them, ask me something about RV life, or ask me something about my job, people are going to be more inclined to ask a question about that because you already gave them a topic. And I think you can incorporate that with anything, really. I like doing the polls for, like, I don't know, you could go to the store and be like, should I buy this? And you're like, yes or no, stay away from that. Or I've done it, just almost give people, like, people love giving their opinions. So give them the opportunity to do that. For example, I was in Hawaii and I'm so scared to surf, but I put on my story, should I surf? It's one of my biggest fears on the bottom. And yes, one of the options was yes, go for it. Another one was like, no. And people all voted for yes, except for 2. But just people giving their opinion. And I had a lot of messages about why they said yes or why they wouldn't do it either. And just people like to be interactive with your life, and they feel like they have an in on you. And so give them that feeling, and they'll want to keep coming back for more. So.
Oh, that's really good. I think this is also for those of us that struggle with the interaction part of, we're great at taking pictures and we're great at talking all day in our stories, but like, how do you connect with people? This is a great way to connect. If you are fearful of something, or if you're struggling with something, and you get vulnerable and you get authentic in your stories, they have no reason to not reply and give you their opinion. Of like, this not only gives you an idea of how they're perceiving you and your feed and your personality, but also it shows you how they view life, or whatever it is you're talking about. Like, did you potty train your kid at 3 years old? I know I keep talking about potty training. That's just my life. Or did you surf when you went to Hawaii, or whatever the topic is? Think about that. A lot of you guys are getting ready to go to Leaders Retreat. So I really challenge you and encourage you to kind of get into the flow of this, so that come Leaders Retreat when you're in San Diego, you can really utilize these tips and tricks in your stories, and people can connect to the business aspect of your business, not just the products that we talk about all the time, but they can see you on your trip. They can see you in another city. They can see you at the luxurious parties. You know how Plexus is super top notch, but that way they can see it and they feel like you're there too. I had so many people reach out to me when we were in Hawaii, because I really was intentional about how I portrayed my stories. And so many people, wow, like everything was just so beautiful. And I felt like I was there with you. And that's all I could ever want. I want people to feel like they're there too, so that they want to be there. So they want to earn it and work for it. So I think that's fabulous advice, Faith. Real quick, we're going to wrap this up here in a minute. So if you're still watching and you have some questions about Instagram, or maybe a question about something you're doing that you feel like maybe it's not working, or maybe it's working well, please share it in the chat real quick. If you're on Facebook, we'll have to answer you later on because I can't see that right now. But if you're on the Zoom, feel free to ask a question or share something. Faith, thank you so much for all of this awesome advice. It's great. It's so great to have a perspective from somebody that has learned Instagram in a completely different way. Like, even though I'm 29, like us old Facebookers, like that was like the thing in 2008. Right. So it's crazy. It's been 11 years and we're learning a new platform, but I totally think that Instagram is where it's at right now. Somebody said, is it better to have a business page or a personal page?
I have a business page. I think a lot of people that even aren't in business at all, they have a business page and they put like it says under their name whatever they are, and there's an option to put like just for fun or personal blog or artist, and you can give yourself a category. I don't think it really changes anything. It just gives you more perks, in my opinion, because it gives you all the information about how many people saved your post, how many people shared it, how many people viewed it, and then you can like go into your activity and see who's watching your stuff. I think it's more of a perk. So personally, I like the business page option.
I agree. I have a business page, and it's actually attached to my Facebook business page, which I don't really do much there. If I post something on Instagram, I have it shared to that page. Like, I don't use my Facebook business page because I like my warm on Facebook, right? But I will say the perks that Faith is talking about, those are insights. And they're kind of hard. They're a little like techie, but if you kind of figure it out or you Google it, it basically teaches you who's looking, how long they're watching, if they're clicking through your stories, if they're really participating, you know, who your top follower is, type of things. Like, you can see all these cool stats, and you can find out if they're with Plexus or not. And that is a great way to have potentials. Someone said, do you think IGTV is a great use of your feed, like daily videos, or is it better to have mostly beautiful photos on your feed? I'll let you answer first, Faith.
Okay. I don't think your photos need to be beautiful and out of this world, because if you're not a photographer, or if that isn't your thing, like Emily was saying, don't do that. Don't try to be that person. Be honest and real. I think IGTV, if you can find things to talk about, I think it can be very beneficial, because a lot of the influencing nowadays are going towards video. People want to see videos now. I've seen that a lot with Instagrammers, is they're putting out more videos with their pictures, because
I
it's
agree.
more real.
It is more real. Somebody that's doing a great job with IGTV is Rebecca Folks. She uses the Unfold and Splicer apps. If you have an iPhone, you can use the iMovie app that comes on the iPhone to add background music to your pictures, to edit your video. I mean, not your videos. Edit your videos to make them a little bit shorter, like if you pause, or, you know, at the end, the freeze frame makes you look all contorted. I love it. So I actually just made this short gut health analogy video for my team, and I used the iMovie app on iPhone. I put on some background music so you don't hear the silence of nap time in my house, you know, like that ringing in your ears. So it's like this fun little background music, and I'm talking about gut health, and it, like, the music's kind of in and out, so it's not super distracting, but I could now upload that to IGTV. I don't think if you want to do daily videos, by all means do it, but I feel like that's a better place for in your stories. If you're going to, you know, every 8 to 10 posts, do an IGTV, I feel like that's a better flow, because one, it gives you some time to plan some content of what you're going to talk about. And two, I feel like it will make your flow look a little bit better, because, right, it's 3 pictures across. So every 9 you have an IGTV, I think that would just look a little bit better. And I don't know the word that I'm trying to think of, but the flow would be better. I did IGTV videos. I've done like 3 or 4, and it's just some of my favorite topics that corporate asked me to talk about, or you guys asked me to talk about on my team, or just followers in general. Yes, Rebecca Folks. But for me, when it comes to IGTV, what I like to do is, and this is the thing, when you're nervous, you talk faster. So your IGTV videos are usually like 30 seconds to like 5 minutes. And really, honestly, that should be your cutoff, because you lose people at 5 minutes. Think about all the people out there that are in a hurry. But when I'm doing my IGTV, I make sure I have good lighting. Like right now, I'm in front of a window. That's why it's super bright in here. So I have good lighting. I make sure I'm put together, because IGTV is it's like a fancier version of your story. So you do want to look a little bit more professional, I think. And I mean, you don't have to like get ready for a black tie gala, but you just want to look more presentable, because you want people to stop on your video. So if you're not using an app or a tool to add a caption to your video, you want them to stop, because they're like, oh, she's cute, or oh, well, she looks fierce. Like, you know, like maybe you're like this in your freeze frame or something. I don't know. But you want people to stop and click on it. But make sure it goes along with you, or your brand, as we like to say. So if you are a busy mom, talk about motherhood and children and all those type of things as much as you are giving business advice. And make sure it goes with whatever Faith said, like whatever your profile is set up as. Like mine says motivational speaker, or I don't know, I just selected one randomly, but that's what I like to think of myself. I like to think of myself as someone that gives motivational advice. So when I do IGTV, it's going to be motivational. It's going to be tough love in your face, make you think, thought-provoking questions. And you can Google this stuff. You can Google, what is a thought-provoking question to ask? And there's like blogs with 30 questions to get people thinking, and you can just pick one and go on like a 2-minute rant, and that's your IGTV. It doesn't have to be so complicated. I think we just overcomplicate things. Be yourself, right? Be yourself. Google ideas. You know, the people that inspire you to like do things, like Faith inspired me to clean up my Instagram because it was a mess, and I wouldn't follow me. Like I like, you know what's an aesthetically like pleasing to the eye. Like, I know what I like. You know what you like. If you get irritated following all these fitness people, don't follow fitness people, right? Go follow Eric Worre, or go follow Rachel Hollis, or your favorite writer, or inspirational things like that. And then just implement what they're doing in your way. All the time. All the time. And Faith, I know you hear this too, is I don't have anything to talk about. I don't have a story to tell. I love that you mentioned just start with like what you made for breakfast.
Right.
And maybe you burn the toast. Maybe you're terrible at making scrambled eggs. Be honest and talk about that. Be like, you know what? I am 48 years old and I burnt my scrambled eggs this morning. So does anyone have any tips on making perfect scrambled eggs? And just going from there and owning it. Well, nobody's perfect. We all got our issues. So just roll with the punches. Thank you guys so much for getting on. I think we're just going to wrap it up. Feel free to follow Faith Ryan on Instagram. If you are wanting to learn how to take better pictures or prettier pictures, she does have really cool presets that are simple to use, and you can start applying them onto your pictures. Maybe find a little look that you like, but it's simple, it's basic. I will have this video uploaded on YouTube so you can share it with your friends and your team members. But thank you, Faith. Everyone have a fantastic afternoon. Bye, you guys.